This is T-Chain here, and thank you for joining me. Welcome to episode 50 of Game Love Loadout, where I chat with the best people in the game industry 7 days a week. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast for new daily episode filled with inspiring stories. And now let's chat with today's featured guest, Fakhra AlMansouri. Fakhra, it is a go time. Are you ready?
I am ready. Let's go. Press start.
Yes, press start. She is the founder and CEO of Hybrid Humans, the first independent game studio at Abu Dhabi, UAE, which is United Arab Emirates. Congrats on that. That's a huge accomplishment.
Thank you very much.
Some of her titles include Hop Hop Away and Who Lurks. She also organizes game jams and create workshops to introduce students to game design. So go ahead, Fakhra. Tell us a bit about your personal life and how you got started in the game industry.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you, first of all, for having me. This is like such a great initiative to be on this program of yours. And yeah, I started in game dev in 2011. I started my first game in a school project, and I had the best time creating that game in particular, because I never thought I could be one of these people that makes games, because I thought games were done by unicorns growing up. Like I used to make my own party games, board games or whatnot, and invite my friends over to play. But I never thought I could do this for real. So that was my first introduction to video games. And I did the programming, the art, animation, sound effects, even music. I pulled up GarageBand and messed around with the keyboard, and after 20th time, I was like, okay, that sounds kind of decent. I'll go with this. So yeah, I had the best time. I got lost into the work. I did what was required, went the extra mile, and after that, I decided okay, I want to do this for real. People do this for their job, and so I went and I looked for a program to study for school. And I found a gaming academy, and that was my first academic start in 2012. And after graduating, I went to Ubisoft for a little bit, and then I started the studio in 2014.
Wow, that's just an awesome adventure. You thought you can do it at first, and then in the end, here you are doing it now.
It's freaking amazing. It's such a journey.
Well, what's so is your main area of expertise in game design itself, or what is your main area of expertise?
Right now it is game design. I started off doing everything because I wanted to explore every option into knowing how do you make a video game, because I love learning. And then I settled into the game design bit, and it also works best for me since I need to run a business. So yeah, I focus mainly on game design.
And what is something we probably don't know about game design that we should know?
We don't know. I think knowing everything in the world, because game design is not one hat, it's not one knowledge. All of your knowledge and background and history affects the games that you work on. So being hungry to learn is a very key component to being a game designer, I think. And having that analytical mind as well.
Oh, I love that. So when you say knowing the world, or what exactly do you mean by that?
Don't be specific on having one field knowledge. Just be as knowledgeable as possible. When I worked when I was doing a game, and I was mainly the level designer of that game. With every game project, it makes me look at the world differently. I worked on a hidden object game. And then I started noticing how the objects in real life are layered, and that I took that knowledge and took it to the game to make better game levels. If I'm working on a game that's about biology, I learn and I notice things about biology. Right now, I'm working on a game with birds, or falcons specifically. So I notice how birds fly. I find these random information about falcons that I didn't think they were that interesting. But you start catching up on these things. So being hungry for knowledge, I think, is a very good thing to have as a game designer.
That is awesome, and you're also making your game more authentic because you're researching what you're creating for. So the Falcon, you're researching what a Falcon does, and you're making your game more authentic by using that research for a game. That is really cool.
Yeah, you start noticing small things in the world where you never thought about before.
Overall, what are your key principles to becoming a great game designer?
I think when you become game designer, specifically when you work with a team, I think communication, having great communication with yourself and with your teammates is a key thing to have. Also, sharing the same goal and the same vision is quite important. Scoping well, knowing your abilities and knowing your limits is good, and most importantly, being comfortable with the work that you do, with the time that you put into it, and with your teammates.
One point I want to touch upon is your knowing your limits. Like, how do you find that limit, or how do you know what it is?
You explore and you research, like, based on different projects that you've done, or even if you just started, you don't know your limits. So like, just go ahead and work on a project with the task that you've been allocated. If you work with the team, if you work on your own, just keep doing like the work that you think is the best thing that you can offer to the project. And if you just stumble upon like a small mountain, you can just stop, research, ask people, connect with others. Internet is a great resource to have to check in with others.
Definitely. And once again, it's like being hungry. You got to go seek out those knowledge.
You need to be self-motivated to get into this, I think. You can't just start this for any other reason that you love doing this.
Yeah, it's tough. So you got to have that passion. And that takes us to our next moment. And let's get more personal, because creating a game can be very long and difficult. So I'm pretty sure you had some bad moments. What was the worst moment of your career? That one moment that's still vivid in your mind? Be very detailed and tell us that personal story.
I think the fact that I have to work like 15 hours a day to support the studio and the projects that we work on. I need to have a day job to support the studio. We don't make a lot of money making these games, and I want to keep the creative integrity of our projects and in our games. So I have to have this day job. So like having to manage these 8 hours of day job and then the 8+ hours for the studio is like a hard thing to manage. But the toughest was when I was working on our first game, Hop Hop Away. I had to do the dreadful crunch time. So I would barely get like maybe 1 hour of sleep. I would stay in the studio until like 5 or 4 a.m., go home, take a nap, shower, and then go to day job. That was like really hard 2 weeks of crunch time. And after that, I never do crunch time because I have to be careful and I have to take care of myself, because that's like the first thing that you need to do.
Holy moly, that is intense. You work so many hours, including a day job and 1 hour of sleep. That is really, really intense.
My regular work, sleep hours is like 5 to 4. If I would like sleep a lot, it would be 6 hours.
Oh my gosh. So let's break it down. What do you want to make sure we take away from that experience? How do we learn from that? So, crunch time is definitely really tough. And people, game developers, they usually do have a daytime job as well to support themselves. What do you want to make sure game devs take away from that experience and learn from it?
I think being able to check in with yourself, to know your limits in that regard, and like to ask yourself, how am I doing? Can I do this? Because I've reached the point of almost burning down. I don't want to have that, because I love game development and I love working with my teammates. So I get the chance of like having them work comfortably and like regular work hours where I can like do the double hours to support the studio and to support our games and to keep our creative integrity without like worrying about we have to make this like such a money maker. Instead of like making something that is like just fun and we want to try out this idea. So what I would love for people to take away from this is like, you have to take care of yourself. You have to have a goal at the end of the day, because like waking up with a smile on your face, knowing that you'll be doing something that you enjoy, is such a great thing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you got to have that vision in the end of what you want to accomplish. And you're so noble for what you're doing for your company. That's really, really noble of you. You're like basically inspiring me right now.
Thank you.
Now that you're more experienced and better, what do you think was the best investment you've made? It could be an investment of money, time, or energy. And how did you decide to make that investment?
I think that would be the decision to go into the gaming academy. That was the best thing I ever did. I didn't have a lot of doubts going into it, but I wasn't like too sure if this would be the thing for me. I went there. We had like 10 classmates. I had there like 9 other classmates, and they were from all over the world. So deciding to go into that, and like we were only 2 girls with like 8 boys, which is like to be expected, I know. But yeah, going into it, I didn't have a lot of doubts, but I wasn't too sure if this was for me. But like from day one, I was like, yes, this is it. This is it. This is like about every field that I love. I love art, science, tech, like philosophy, and like everything is it's like relevant to this. So yeah, like if you can like think of one moment, if I can think about one moment, I think it would be that. And then afterwards, every other decision that I made was definitely a win.
Yeah, because you're joining Game Academy, you're learning a lot more, and you also get to connect with other game developers as well. That's like a really good investment right there.
Yeah. Then I get to work like with a big team like the Ubisoft guys when I joined them. Like that was a dream job for me. It was like either I open up my own studio or work at Ubisoft. I love their Assassin's Creed games. So getting that opportunity to have my name on a Ubisoft game, that was just like another good moment.
I like that. And like you mentioned earlier, you opened your first game studio at Abu Dhabi. I'm curious what was the reaction to that? Like your first game studio in that place. What was the media reaction, or how did you feel about that?
Like I didn't think a lot about it. I didn't think in terms of like being the first of like anything. I knew I wanted to make games, and for me to make games was like to start the studio, and to have like others join me as well to do it. It took me a while to get the business license. I think it took me about 2 months from the government side, because I had to explain to them what a game studio was, and they thought I was a factory that manufactures toys. So yeah, like I didn't think much about it, but it is pretty cool now looking back into it. Like I do a lot of initiatives here. I go to universities and schools and I talk to them about what I do, to just kind of like help them pursue something that they would love or find passion in. So when they know it's like the first, it's good for headlines and people know about what we do. So it helps them find that thing that they love. So yeah, I love that part of it a lot.
It would be so cool if your company actually like starts the trend of gaming companies of where you're at right now. That'd be so cool.
It did. Two new studios opened up just like within the last 6 months. One of them is a guy I met at a workshop that I did 3 years ago, and he was gonna graduate in college like in a couple of years. And because I like to ask people, what are your plans after you're done with school or college? And this guy told me, I want to open up my own studio, and he actually did that. So I'm really proud of him for doing that.
Ooh, you're setting up a trend. That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I love it. Like people are getting more into it. Even when I do the global game jams, we started off with 7, and then we kept growing. Last year we had 22. This year we had 11. It's a bit of a downgrade, I know, but I take it from a point of view that all of the attendees this year were all first timers, and they had that sense of achievement. After 2 days, they had a running game. So that was such a good moment for them as well.
Man, I hope it grows big over there. I really do. I just believe game being global, it's so cool. Awesome game devs. Don't forget, you can check out my website for all these show notes that we just talked about. Fakhra, we have reached a crunch time. So I know we just touched upon this and you dread it really much, but we are going to overcome it. Basically, I will ask quick questions and you'll be giving us a ton of valuable information in return. Are you ready to crush it and release the show?
Yes, let's go.
What was holding you back from joining the game industry?
I think nothing really. Once I realized this is what I wanted to do, I just like dived into it.
What's a personal habit that contributes to your success?
I'm very stubborn, so I would say because I'm very stubborn, that helps, like pushes me towards my goal. I like to get what I want. So yeah, that.
Yeah, you don't stop. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Just go after what you love. Waking up in the morning, doing what you love is the best feeling. Going to bed, like reviewing your day in your head, and you think like ticked off some achievements or goals, is a nice feeling.
Yeah, I think when you could wake up to a job or a project you're working on happy, I think that means like you found your passion, or you found something you really like to do.
Yeah.
How has a failure set you up for later success?
A learning lesson. You gain experience from failure.
Yeah, you gotta, that's how you gotta picture it. You can't like be down when you fail. You just gotta, it's a learning experience.
Failure is like if you don't learn a lesson. I think I would consider that as a failure, but nothing else qualifies as a failure besides that.
Oh, nice. What resources should we game devs use?
That's a tricky one. Because of like my time, I don't really use the internet a lot as much as I did before. But I would say game dev hashtag on Twitter and the subreddit of game dev and any other game development subreddits are really awesome. I'm a lurker on Reddit. I don't get paid. But yeah, I would think subreddits are awesome. People's contribution there is great.
Yeah, and Discords too. You could go on Discord and chat with game developers as well.
Yeah, yes. I've heard about that. I wanted to do that I was tempted. I signed up and I'm like, should I? And then I didn't.
Yeah, there's a Discord called GameDev.net. So yeah, definitely recommend checking that out if you have time.
Okay.
Now this next question is a bit of a doozy, so take your time if you need to. Imagine you woke up the next morning in a brand new world and you knew no one. You still have all the experience and knowledge you currently have today. Your food and shelter is taken care of and you have a laptop. What would you do step by step on the path to become a great game developer?
Ooh. So I have all my knowledge in a brand new world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Okay. So growing up, I wanted to be an astronaut because I wanted to explore space. So I'm imagining myself like I am an astronaut right now with the game side to it. And I've explored this new planet and I just landed there. I think first thing I would do is just like get to know the people there, understand their world, and create a game experience that reflects that. I would want to get to know the people and create something. Or because in this scenario, they don't know about Earthlings. So I would create a game experience about Earth and then show it to these people and then take their experience and put it into that world.
I love that. You took a spaceship to another planet and, put a game about Earth. That's so cool. Fakhra, we have reached the end. Go ahead and give us a parting piece of guidance and how we can connect with you, and then we'll say goodbye.
All right. Okay. My advice would be, like in everything that I do, I try to ask myself this question: how does this benefit me? How will this benefit my community? How will this benefit the world? Because like we don't live in our own bubble. So thinking about these three rings is gonna be good for like the world, because we need to be in a better place now with all the crap that's happening. So I think like being aware and conscious of these, of yourself, of your community, of the world is great. And just go and do whatever that makes you happy to infinity and beyond. I live by that saying. And you can connect with me over Twitter. I'm quite active on Twitter. It's at hybridhuman_.
Awesome. Hit her up. Game Dev. She's willing to help and she's doing so much good for the world. So thank you for that, Fakhra. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. And for that, we are truly grateful and we will catch you in next time.
Thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate being part of this. And I love your initiative, like starting this and like connecting people together. especially like from like outside the US. It's a refreshing to know that. So thank you so much, and thank you for the listeners. I hope you can take this away and this energy and like create something beautiful.
Thank you, Game Devs, for listening, and remember that knowledge is only potential power. Execution is the game. I am so excited to announce our first sponsored giveaway with Game Dev Underground, where a winner can get a free 1-hour consultation with the founder, Tim Rusbeck. So if you have any questions on building and launching your game, get on this giveaway ASAP. This is a $1,000 value, and it can be yours. All you have to do is go to the show notes page at GameDevLoadout.com and sign up for my email list. That's it. So until then, keep on making great games, and I will catch you on the next episode. Bye.